Hello. I want to make a video about psychology of loneliness again. I've already made many videos about it, but I thought, according to what happened recently again, I think yesterday was the shooting in another school. It seems to be always the same theme. A man, it's always a man, it's usually a man. I mean, there's very few cases where it happened with a woman. Men have more testosterone, and they're also under a lot more peer pressure than women are, and they're under a whole lot more psychological pressure to fit in all of this. And they're not allowed to show emotion still to this day. It's very unfortunate. But that's why I'm making these videos, because I'm trying to get people to understand that we can do this better. You know, doesn't have to be the way it is currently. We can do this a whole lot better. So I'm trying to figure out the best light. It is very rainy and dark outside, but the light is very bright, and then my face is already very white, and then it looks like I'm just like a white blank face, paper face or something. Well, anyway, I guess this is better. Shows more wrinkles, but that's alright. Anyway, I've come around, I can talk about this. I'm 49, and I have experienced a lot of problems in my life, and I have observed a lot of things with myself and with others, and I have the knowledge to talk about this. And whoever doesn't like my videos and thinks it is a waste of time, don't watch them. I mean, why even leave a comment like this? That's a waste of time by itself, So just watch entertainment then, if you don't like real information. So yeah, it happens frequently, and that's completely cool. I can only speak to those people who are ready and willing to ponder over it, otherwise it doesn't have any sense, right? So I don't even know where to start. Like media control, media control is also at fault with these kind of situations. And I tell you why. Because the media, they bombard the masses of people with body images. And that doesn't only affect women, of course. I would say it affects men even more. You'd be surprised. It affects men even more. The man of today has to look like Brad Pitt. He has to be mysterious, like in that Chanel commercial, even though that made a lot of people snicker, but it made a lot of young people snicker, I think, because they're already like the next generation. They already see through this stuff. So Brad Pitt is still somewhat in the 80s with that. He's still that ragged cowboy. So but no, this is not a funny subject at all. I should not have mentioned Brad Pitt. But Brad Pitt, the image of Brad Pitt and people like him, and anyone who has that image, like Matthew McConaughey or George Clooney or Justin Bieber, now the new generation guys. I don't know any of these new generation guys. I've seen a couple of faces, they have a lot of times they have these faces like that Elijah. I forgot his last name. They have a lot of these very interesting faces. That it's a completely new generation of the intellectuals. They're I'm making a video right now. Yeah. What's the root of this issue? Why there are so many kids shooting others? Elliot Rodger and all of these other people. The root of that is that when they're babies, their parents, particularly the mother, is not fully attentive and not fully there. That is usually the case. I can't speak for each single case or Elliot Rodger. I'm just assuming, that usually the mother is not fully there, and when that is the case, that's the case with most people, obviously, then the baby does not have that feeling of being safe, of being accepted, of being one with that other being. When the mother is neurotic and thinks about her own advantages and all of this, and is too occupied with her own body image and advantages and this and that that's going on. I want to use my own example to make this more understandable, what I'm trying to portray to the public, because the scenario of not really feeling the child, it's appears to be a little bit abstract for those people who have never dealt with this issue, who never got into psychology or anything. So I'm going to use my own example. I was watching Lena Dunham interviews last night again. I like that girl a lot, and I kind of like see myself as like in a different dimension, in a different multiverse situation. I see myself similar to her, with similar self-esteem and all of this, with a completely different childhood history. So this is it. Okay, I'm gonna start with how I was raised. When I was born in 1965, long time ago, long before Lena Dunham, different generation, different practices, all of this already way more burdened. I was slapped on the behind when I was born. I was treated coldly. They treated my mother coldly. The mother is lying in a horizontal position, not in a vertical. It is hard for the baby to come out. Long labor, long struggles. I had nightmares later on. I talk about this in detail in my book. I'll put the link in the video again. Nightmares happen just from the birth process that never gets fully dissolved and fully accommodated, assimilated in the nervous system later on and put into its place. It will always be edging on and always be docking onto new situations of fear and so on. So it's a major primal trauma. It's the birth process. When things go wrong in it, when the labor is too long, it causes incredible insecurities and mountains of neurosis later on for that person if this doesn't get dissolved. And in most people it doesn't get dissolved. So I'll talk about how we can dissolve this and what we can do. I'll talk about this later or in another video. What I'm trying to point out right now is how extremely dangerous it is for when a mother does not feel her child, when a mother is not connected with the child, when the mother's neurotic needs are blending out the needs of the child. And that happens frequently. That happens so frequently. People are fully unconscious about this. They think, oh, I gave my child everything. No, you didn't. And most people did not give everything the child needed to the child. And that's because they are not in tune. They are too much into their own needs and thinking about their own what they need to do next in order to gain this or that. So they're not in tune with the child. My mother actually used me as a comfort giver, not a comfort taker, which the child really is. A baby cannot give. The baby is a totally innocent, vulnerable, helpless being, okay, that is completely dependent on the mother. And when the mother comes with her own need energies, it doesn't have to be spoken or even in any form of action. Just the energy alone of the mother standing there with pale face and rings under her eyes, that energy alone is absolutely overwhelming for the infant, because the infant does not feel connected. Then the infant feels like the mother isn't really there. They're not connected. The infant feels completely helpless and alone and totally overwhelmed with that situation. It's a feeling of desolation, and that feeling can follow that individual throughout their lives, and they don't even know why. They don't even know where that started. So this needs to be really thought about. This needs to be taken into consideration. And so my mother was not there for me. She could not give me what I needed. She did not know how to give me what I needed. She didn't pick me up very much. She didn't cuddle me very much. I was not sleeping on her chest at night. I was put in a different baby bed, and a lot of people probably still do this to this day. I didn't have a child because I know better than that. I didn't feel like I was capable of giving all of that to the child, what the child needed. I felt a little insecure, just in particular because of what happened to me and the stuff I hadn't dissolved yet. So how can I be ready? And I'm asking other people not to have children either for that very reason, until you really have dissolved these things. And how do we dissolve it? You know, it feels almost impossible to get to that point, but it is possible. It just has to be done in the right order and with the right measures. So there are techniques. I'll talk about it later. So, and then usually by the time somebody has dissolved all that stuff, they're going to be 70 years old, and then it's too late, right? So for most people, I guess, you know, there was a woman, she was, I think, 75 in Yugoslavia, and she gave birth to a normal child. So, but that's an extremely rare case of extreme prolonged telomerase of the DNA. So some people have double lifespans, and those are very, very lucky people who have that. You know, if they love their lives, of course. If they don't like their lives, then it'll be horrendously torturous to live double as long as other people. But anyway, the most critical part is how we live our lives, not how long we live our lives. If we live our lives in misery, then the longer we live, the more horrible it is. So we need to live our lives in joy, and that's the meaning of life. You know, philosophers, they broke their heads over that question, what is the meaning of life? There is basically zero meaning to life, except that we want to enjoy it, right? Every plant, every animal, every microbe wants to be enjoying themselves, and that can only be done if the circumstances for our existence are ideal and make our existence livable, make it joyful, you know, make us feel relaxed. You know, when I smell on the perfume of geranium or rose or fir tree, or you know, any kind of amazing plant. All plants are amazing. I have a lot of perfume oils from plants, 100% plant essences. I enjoy that. For me, that enriches the quality of my life. That makes life living. That makes living not. That makes me not so much like I have to get from A to B. You know, I can actually stay at place A longer. I can sit there, and I am not gonna be so antsy to get this or that accomplished in order to get this or this feeling better, or get this or that feeling better state, you know. So we have to create our lives in a way that we can actually be able to sit at place A and breathe and enjoy the moment of it, and just accept the moment of it, and smell the perfume oil or a plant or a twig of Christmas tree, and at any time of the year, in summer too, and taste it. And it's also antimicrobial. It helps to get rid of bad breath, for example, which is a whole lot healthier than gum, which has all kinds of terrible chemicals in it. So now I'm straying off the subject, but all of this is important. All of this is about quality of life, and eventually all of it ties in with one another. And when when somebody decides to have a child, first of all, what is the motive for it? You have to ask yourself, what is the motive? Why do you want to have a biological baby? You are biological, child. Why do you want that? Why don't you want to adopt a dog or a child from someone else? That's the question. More and more people do this today, which is great. They become more conscious of this. But like, why do you want to put another suffering existence into this world? That is the question. So why do it if you don't have to, right? So what makes you want it so much that you feel like you have to? What is it? What is the driving force behind it? And ultimately we come back to the same equation, which is the ego is driving it. It's this me. My genes need to be proliferated, or it will not feel good to my ego or something. So we have to become very, very ego-eyed aware about these type of motives and way of thinking and all of this. So, and that's why I talk about meditation, because in meditation we become much more aware of our own needs and of our fears and of our neurosis, of our past, and how we can dissolve these things little by little, step by step, to have more clarity of mind, and to be able to accept the now moment and not have to be in a rush to get from A to B. So, and our lives will become a whole lot more acceptable, a whole lot, I mean, it will be a completely new way of living when we get to that mindset of acceptance of ourselves, of our lives, of the homes we live in, and then we will be also really there for our proteges, for our animals and for our children. This is so extremely important. But for everybody who really wants to have a child, do Vipassana meditation first. Do that for a whole year. And the most important, quit all of the chemicals. All of it. All of it. All of it. All of it. Quit all the tobacco products. Quit all alcohol. Quit all caffeine products. Quit all white sugar products. Quit all white flour products. Quit all the junk food. Quit all meats. And quit all animal products. All of it. And become very, very healthy in your lifestyle. Drink a lot of fresh squeezed plant juices every day, like a liter every day at least. And eat tons and tons of salads and fruits and apples and all kinds of whole food. Okay, so whole food is very important. Vegan if possible. No more milk. The baby cows are separated from the mothers, and the baby and the mother suffer horrendously. It's torture. We must not support the dairy industry anymore. There are alternatives out there, and my husband and I are checking all these alternatives out right now. We're in the process of evaluating which plant and nut milks are the best, and so we've come to the conclusion now that there's a company called So Delicious, and they make plant milks, and they are absolutely fantastic. That's probably the highest quality. They make coconut milk that is creamier and richer than milk, and tastes richer and creamier and better than milk, actually. And once you get used to that, and you get used to it right away, because it is very satisfying. It doesn't leave any craving or anything. It doesn't feel like it is watered down in any way. It is richer and creamier and whiter even than milk is. It is like, looks like it has a lot of like zinc oxide or something in it. That's how it looks like. It's just so amazing. It tastes so amazing, the pure coconut milk from So Delicious. And they come in these milk carton type of packages, Tetra Pak I think it's called. You can store it at room temperature, and when you open it you have to put it in the refrigerator. I always drink one carton like in one gulp, but this is good stuff. And my favorite is Carob Eden soy milk. Tastes fantastic. It's organic. They're all organic. It's very important to get organic nut milks, because you don't want pesticide residues in your food ever. Pesticides they're causing neurodegenerative illnesses, particularly in babies and infants and little children. It's very, very dangerous. But these three, they seem like they put their love and their effort into their products, which is what we need. So anyway, we have to give our first of all, we have to be completely cleansed in order to have a baby, and they have to be cleansed for at least a year, if not 2 or 3 years, before we do do this nourishing from our body to the infant. Okay. So because whatever we eat, whatever we have in our body, whatever gets released from stored, whatever is released from our bodies that has been stored in there, some toxins from like years before, like that get all of a sudden released out of muscle tissue or fat cells. Fat cells store like pharmaceutical drugs for a long time. So, or when you lose weight, all of a sudden that gets released, and then it can get into the baby's body, and that's not good. So you want to completely cleanse that out first, completely get rid of it, completely flush your whole body out, inside out. And yeah, you don't want to be anorexic when you have a baby. You want to have extra pounds, and it doesn't mean you have to like gain 100 pounds when you get pregnant, but we should not be too afraid to gain 50 pounds when we have a baby. You know, that'd be terribly ridiculous to be afraid about that. It's probably not too healthy to gain that much, but if you gain 100 pounds, that would not be healthy at all. But if you gain 50 pounds during a pregnancy, I would say that's still normal. So I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, correct me if I'm wrong, but for women who want to become pregnant, they should not be thin. They should have an extra padding on them, because that is very important for the baby. So my mother was too brainwashed at that time. She was too influenced by haute couture that was promoting thin women. So my mother was very thin when she was pregnant with me, and that was not good for me at all. Not at all. That was rather traumatic. And so I learned from all of these things, and that's why I don't want to be thin, because I don't think being thin is healthy at all, at least not to those degrees, you know. The most important thing is for anyone who wants a child to give that child absolute unconditional love. You have to be there 100%. Your child is your boss, okay? That's how it is. Your child is your king, your queen, your jewel, your God, okay? So you have to treat that baby like that. You have to treat that child like that. You cannot treat the child with any kind of selfishness at all. You have to be there totally, and that applies to a guinea pig, to a rat, to a dog, to a horse, and to someone else's child if you adopt that being. Whoever you adopt, that being is your boss. Okay? That is your protege. I'm not talking about a husband, but we should see our husbands or wives also in a similar light. I mean, they are more autonomous. Our animals and our children are our proteges, and they are totally dependent on us, and because of that, we have to live for them, not for us, not for selfish reasons, not have the kids as accessories or show models. And I mean this really, really seriously. When I see people take their dogs to dog shows, this is not for the dogs. That is always for the person. I have this status symbol dog. This is my status symbol dog. I'm showing his. And in the course they become so detached and insane that they even cut the ears and the tail and all of these things, and they think they did plastic surgery on the animal, and It's all for them. They are totally, totally insane, these people. They have not understood anything. That this is your protege. This is your being that you brought into your life. An individual being, just like you are. No difference, okay? He wants to live, she wants to live, just like you do. She does not want her ears trimmed. He does not want anything to be cut off. He doesn't want his dew claws to be trimmed off. Okay? He doesn't want the tail to cut or the ears or anything. Okay? So this is very, very important. And same applies to a child, you know, circumcision and other things. Just comes to mind what they clip off on babies. That's another insanity. It comes from religion. It's insane. Okay. That has to be stopped. This is traumatic for an infant. It's traumatic for a puppy dog to have the dew claws clipped off. It's the same when you are breeding a dog, putting new living beings into this world, as when you are giving birth. Okay, you're putting a new living being into this already very burdened and overpopulated world, and into this very strange situation. That's why I say it's better not to do it. Better not to breed the dogs. Better not to breed yourself. Become very, very aware of this. This is an extreme responsibility that we're carrying. Okay? And all of that, what I'm saying right now, obviously it edges on with that what you have been drilled into your brain your whole life from the corporate religion. Okay. So, and I say corporate religion because religion is corporate and corporate is religious. The corporations want people to have multitudes of humans, because then they can, and they also want multitudes of puppies, because then they can sell you all the puppy paraphernalia. It's all about selling, 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 selling. It's selling is the most important thing for most people. It's like, how can I make another sale? How can I make another deal? It's not about the quality. It's not about being happy. It's not about being healthy. It's about how can I do profit maximization. That's what most people think, feel, and do. And they are completely detached from themselves and life in general. You know. I am for life. For life. Okay. Unlike the Christian religion is not for life in general. The Christian religion is only for breeding as many human beings as possible. That's all they're interested in. It's only the human. And that does not create quality of life. Life, being really for life, means wanting all life on earth to be healthy, happy, and content. My baby is everything for me, and that's what I want other people to do too. I want them to live for their baby, for their protege. And yeah, it doesn't matter what protege you have. You have to be there for them. You have to, your whole life has to be arranged for that living being. It's a huge responsibility. That basic mindset is what I am trying to educate people with. I'm trying to make this real crystal clear, this emphasis on really, really having this mindset of I live for him, you know. I am there for him. He is my boss. He is the most important being. He is more important than I am. And if you have that mindset, then you are ready to be a mother for a dog, a child from someone else, or your own child. Okay? So, take care.